Good morning and welcome to Morning Coffee with Brigid. I'm Brigid Burke and it is currently Saturday the 12th of October. It's getting dark in here. Actually, the light is coming up. It's very pretty. It's kind of like a rosy sunrise that's kind of... now it's kind of getting that paler color that tells me that it's... Good morning, Alex. I'm just looking out the window to see kind of where the sun's at right now. I know the sun is rising after 7 a.m. now, so I have a light on in the background. And as always, this will get brighter and brighter as we get through the live stream. It's it's interesting. My sister had pointed out to me the other day. We were talking about headaches and stuff, and waking up with certain things, and and what we're waking up with. And so she says, she had said to me that she had started taking these, good morning, Pat, that she was starting to take these hydration drops. I think they're called Buoy, B-U-O-Y. And basically what a lot of these are like, they have electrolytes in them. So they give you basically a boost. There, you add them, there's different ways they have them. Sometimes they're drops that you put in the water, other ones, or in any beverage. I couldn't get those, so I had gotten another electrolyte booster that I tried, that I was able to find at the local pharmacy, and it actually, I mean, I wish it would actually do more. You've heard of that? Yeah, it actually does quite a bit. And Alex, you might actually find it interesting because I know you get headaches. I don't know. I remember when I felt like one was coming on, I would take one of those. And I actually put some in water. I have the one that's kind of like the Alka-Seltzer, like fizzes in water. And after I drank it, like all the feeling like I was going to get a headache just went away. So if any aspect of the headache is connected to hydration, because I know a lot of us okay, drink so many glasses of water per day. Good morning, April. So, and things like that. But sometimes it's like it's not even enough. Yeah, I'll see if I can find something this weekend. I'll try anything. Yeah, it's I was able to find it over where they keep electrolytes and stuff. Things like Gatorade and stuff have electrolytes, but I don't like really sweet drinks. So I wanted to just get something. So yeah, it has. I could probably even message you and just send you the thing that I'd gotten if you wanted to try to get it. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't entirely help with the allergies thing, because I woke up, I was like, oh, I could all just feel it kind of right in there. But I didn't have a headache, and I took another one this morning. I have the Mio, the blue ones here in Canada. Okay, yeah, there's different brands. Oh, the electrolytes. Yeah, there's different brands of them, and they do. I don't know. They seem to make something of a difference. So you often wonder how much of the issues that we have are connected to proper hydration, which, we think we're getting, if we, drink the requisite amount of water every day and stuff. But sometimes, I don't know, Jenny and I had been talking about it the other day, and she said, she's finding that when you do a lot of spiritual work and stuff, for whatever reason, that can just leave you very, very parched as well. It just seems to take a lot of water out of everybody. Plus, it's been very dry. We haven't really had a whole lot of humidity, so... So in any case, I noticed that the other day, so it's my little hot tip of the day. Yeah, so today I don't have a particular topic. I do have my cards. Probably, as what seems to happen in these live streams, as I start talking, something unfolds, something that the topic of the day presents itself, And I did do some Azrael messages this morning, and he is pointing to some really, really big changes coming in. And he's pointing to Monday as a particular day. Now, whether this has to do with me personally or whether this is something more collective, I don't know. But certainly the astrology right now is really intense. We've talked about that quite a few times. I did check the ephemeris today to see when Pluto was going to go direct, and it looks like it's going to go direct. It is going direct. That's not what I mean. When it's going to move back into Aquarius, and that looks like it's going to be on the 20th of November. The exact time, trying to figure it out from the ephemeris is not easy, because they don't use UTC. They use some other kind of timing that I still trying to wrap my head around. A lot of times I'll look at it and then I might rely on other astrologers, or I might Google and say, what time is this happening on this date? And, I'll get it for Eastern Standard Time. But because I'm still, I can read an ephemeris, but, I'm still, when it comes to certain aspects of it, I feel like I'm a little bit of a novice. So anyway, so that's going to be, we're definitely headed in that direction. So I feel like this is like the last month of Capricorn. I think the exact is very late on November 19th. Yeah, it could be, because this one, it seems like it's ahead. Like, it's saying this morning is the morning that Pluto went direct. And we know that Pluto went direct. I think it went direct at 8:43 last night. I kept hearing different. So the 20th would be appropriate. And I feel like Pluto went direct at 8:43 last night was what I saw in another astrology thing that I follow. And for some reason, I kept hearing different things, and it could just be that I was listening to people in the UK or listening to them in different places and thinking, oh yeah, it's happened already. But, it did last night. Yeah. In fact, I was on the phone with a friend, and I was talking to this person. I was like, oh wait, I was starting to talk about Pluto going direct, and I'm like, and I think it's happening right now. So yeah, it was kind of interesting, little synchronicity there. 8:31 for New Jersey. Okay. Thank you, April. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I was right on. I was like, literally, it was like, I was looking at my clock at 8:33, and my clock is fast. So it was like 8:31. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. So, okay. So what I've been doing in this month, I've been doing readings. So I'm going to do some readings today and see what we can come to in terms of a topic. And I'm also going to, I always tell a little ghost story because it's October. And yesterday I was just completely unprepared, so I didn't. But today, I was thinking about it again this morning because, once again, I was kind of involved in these messages and then just thought, oh yeah, I need to tell a story. So I'll tell another personal one. I may try to prepare a few. Today I've got a lot of things to do. I've got to get readings done for my channel. I've got to get, I got to edit my podcast. Got to get the house clean because I have a client coming over tomorrow, and get prepped for this weekend's intuitive development class. So, and I did. Oh, people who are taking the ISFM, like Alex, I know you're in that. Alex and Pat, you're both in that. I posted a whole bunch of stuff today, and it looks like a couple of people have signed in. But I posted the form for the project, and I also posted the link for the next class, and also the YouTube, the private links for Joanna's seminar and stuff, and all of her handouts. So all that's now posted under the student group on the page. So just so you guys know, it's there. And I did send emails, but my Katonia.net email, even though it's set up to authenticate, you saw. Okay, good. Even though it's set up to authenticate, it's, it still seems to be going to people's junk folders. Perfect. Got the emails. Great. Okay, good. It's mostly important to me that the people who are enrolled are getting it. I did have somebody else on Patreon who said, hey, did you ever send those? And I'm like, yeah, I did, but I don't know. It's very weird trying to find those, sometimes. But yeah, and I did confirm with Dr. Kate that, she's ready for Thursday, and she said, yep, got the links, we're good. So, yeah. And that, yeah, this coming week, it's going to be Thursday. It's not going to be on Wednesday, just because she teaches on Wednesdays. So, okay. Anyway, just thought I'd mention that since, at least part of the group is here. So, and probably, and I'm sure Joanne will be on, and she'll end up be rewatching. So she'll know about that. But, okay, so my little ghost story. But it's still it's still in spam. Yeah, it's like, it's so annoying. I have to address the email thing. I'm gonna have to, I have a whole bigger issue to deal with the domain, wanting to move the domain. And I was gonna move the domain from WordPress to Wix, but I'm like, I don't know. Wix is also driving me crazy, but Katonia is not necessarily, doesn't have a huge, I guess it doesn't have a huge e-commerce component to it, so it might actually be easier to just move the domain over and not include all of those features, because I'm not looking for people to book anything online through there or anything. That's just the podcast and the link to the stuff in the store. So mine is not, but I had the email added to VIP. Okay, good. Yeah, I guess it depends on the type of email provider that you have. Some of them are better at that than others. Like I've had Yahoo Mail for years, and it's annoying to me. Like, my mortgage statement ends up in spam every month. I'm like, look, I like to think of it as junk, but I do have to pay that every month, so it's like, it's bizarre. And even though I have put it in my senders list and said, no, this is not spam, blah, 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 it doesn't seem to matter. So, anyway, okay, so coming around to the ghost story, I have told this one before, and this is from about, I'm trying to think when this occurred. I want to say it was probably around 2012, so it's been a while. It's probably been at least 12, maybe even 12 years, maybe even a little longer. I mean, it could have been 2010. I can't, the date of it, it was a time, because right now you see my bed behind me. My bed used to be on this wall. For years it was here. Just, because I wasn't facing the windows, but once I started liking the idea of seeing the sun come up, then I turned my bed so that I could see the window when I woke up in the morning. Oh, true. So what happened one night, this had to have been the time when I was more involved in Kali worship. So it may have even been longer than that, because I feel like I'd started that around 2002, 2003, like that was when I was really heavily into doing Kali Puja and stuff every single day. And so I feel like it was something in that time frame where I was still more involved with the Amma group on a regular basis. And where I was still regularly dreaming of the guru and stuff. I mean, I still sometimes have dreams of her, but it's not as prevalent as it was at that time. And I was living in this house, so it was definitely post 2003. I had gone to sleep, and there was I was laying, and all of a sudden I woke up. I had my cat then. I had Mr. Shiva, so I had my kitty cat, and he was just sitting on the bed, and I woke up, and this black mass just suddenly kind of appears in my room. It appears next to the bed. And it comes over to the bed, and it comes right next to me. And it's like whatever it was, like a hand, like put itself right on my hand. And I felt like it was trying to like drain the life out of me. And now the cat, it was hard for me to tell like if the cat was kind of like, kind of looking, but not really reacting a whole lot. So it was kind of like, is this real? Is this imagined? Because normally, if your pet reacts, then okay, you've got kind of that confirmation that something's going on. But I could definitely feel something affecting my energy. And being the Jersey girl that I am, I just got mad. Because I was just like, who the F do you think you are coming into my house? Like, it's like if somebody broke in your house and took your stuff, Yeah, it is terrifying. It was, I was more mad than anything else. I had more of the attitude of, how effing dare you? Who do you think you are? So, having all of the arsenal of things that I have at my disposal from the various things that I've learned, I was kind of going through them. And then finally, weirdly, I hit upon a Krishna mantra, okay? And for some reason, and then of course my guru flashed into my head, and as soon as I did that, this thing just let go, okay? It let go, and I was like, it was like the sleep, it felt kind of like a sleep paralysis thing, but I wasn't asleep because I was able to get out of bed and I could still see it, okay? And it was headed towards where I have you can't see it, but I have my chimney over there. It headed that way, and I got out of bed and ran after it, and I said, get back here, you mofo, and I'm gonna, mess you up. I was just mad. I mean, I literally chased this thing down, but it went through the wall, and it was gone. And then never saw it again. Okay, I think that kind of, did that. But I remember going back to bed being really mad because I felt like my energy had been compromised. But then it was like, again, Krishna came into my head. And when I did that, it was like all my energy just reconnected immediately. Like all the Shakti just came back and reconnected. Now the next day, there was a friend of mine, we don't really speak anymore, but there was a friend of mine in Flemington, Indian woman who I was friends with. And I used to look after her teenagers and stuff when she would travel and stuff. Good morning, Sudha. You're just missing the end of the ghost story, which was actually kind of but I may have told you this one before, so maybe it's not new to you. And so I went into my friend's house, and she was cleaning out her closets, and she pulls out this picture of baby Krishna. And she says to me, she calls me Nischala because that's what Amma calls me. She says, Nischala, she says, I have this picture of baby Krishna. She goes, I feel like I should give it to you. She's like, but you're not, She says, "You're not really a Krishna devotee." And I said, "Well, no." I said, "But it's kind of weird that you pull out this picture of baby Krishna." And I told her exactly what happened the night before. And she looks at me like this, and she shoves it in my hand. She's like, "Take it." It was really funny. So anyway, you can't really see it, but sitting on the big picture that's sitting on my my kind of armoire there is a picture of baby Krishna that she gave me. So baby Krishna sits in my room. And that's the reason why, because of that particular incident. So I don't remember how many years ago that was, but it could have been as much as, I won't say it's 20 years ago, but it could be anywhere between 12 and 15 years ago that happened. But it's interesting. Yeah, and so, yes, you probably scared it. Yeah, probably. Apparently I can be quite terrifying in that way. But I was just, I just remember just not being scared of it. I just remember being mad at it. Like, who, don't come in my house and bother me with this, It would be, I'd be like, I would get myself in so much trouble. It's like, if I was in a place where somebody was like, had a hold up and there was a gun, I'd be like, who do you think you are? Try to punch the guy in the face, and I'd probably get shot. But I don't know. I don't, when I feel like people are like, kind of aggressively, or beings aggressively impinging on my territory, I'm just like, no, I don't think so. That's just, I don't know. It's probably the 12th house Mars that I have, it's just like, So, kind of interesting. But anyway, that's kind of my little ghost story for the day. my personal ones. I was trying to go through and remember, I'm like, because sometimes it's like, some things have happened so long ago that I just don't remember when they happened, or what they were. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, that thing happened. So, and then there's others that are just, they're harder to describe. It's more like you had to have been there kind of thing to understand. But, but that one's pretty straightforward in terms of understanding kind of what went on. Oh, same breach. 12th house Mars here. It gets fierce, especially with energy stuff. Yeah, because 12th house Mars, I have 12th house Venus too, and they're conjunct each other in my 12th house. Saturn's in the 12th house too. Make of that what you will. But it's, and Saturn's not conjunct those, I should say. But it is, but yeah, but there's definitely, there's like an emotionalism, and there's a thing that it kind of comes out by surprise. It's not something, because it's 12th house, it tends to be hidden. We tend to come across as kind of, grounded and docile and calm. And then when something sets you off, it's just like, I've had to work a lot. Another 12th house Mars here, stellium. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. And that's just it. You have it there, and, it can be like, yeah, you feel like it's very hard sometimes to, I don't know. It's kind of that smoldering, it can be, I don't know. Mars can push you to action too. Mars does not, we always think about Mars as being kind of this warlike energy. And I mean, yeah, Mars is the god of war, but I feel more like that energy is just more of that, it sometimes surprises me. Yeah, well, that's just it. And sometimes we have reactions to things, or people, sometimes I feel like I'm overreacting to things because all of a sudden, because somehow it will touch on something that's hidden, and then it just triggers me. But I've had to learn over the years to say, okay, wait a minute, like, don't black out on somebody because, you're feeling this way. And this month's have been a real test with me for that. I feel like there's been certain situations where I'm like, okay, take a deep breath, try to consider where that person's coming from, and don't freak out. Like, just, I might vent about it privately, but it's just like, I try not to, I'm recognizing that we're walking through a minefield right now. So, and then when it's hidden like that, I mean, when your Mars is, like, my grandniece, her Mars is in her first house. She's Aries ascendant, Aries sun, and Aries moon. Like, go figure, I mean, that child's just like a fireball. And as my nephew said, he says, yeah, she absolutely, you know where she stands at all times. Like, there's no question. And if she doesn't want to do something, she doesn't want to do something, Oh, wow. Yeah, I know. And it's interesting because I got a call from them the other day. They were like, can you finish, because they have another daughter, Charlotte. Charlotte was born on April 19th. She was born at 0 degrees 22 of Taurus, and I am 0 degrees 23 of Taurus. So, of course, I feel like that's, yeah, we're like within one, actually, yeah, like kind of like 1 minute of each other in terms of our Taurus placement. I mean, of course, her Taurus, I don't think, I'm trying to remember what house her Taurus is in. I think it's more like it's in the 8th or 9th house. It's over that way. Right, because she has Jupiter in Taurus, and I think Jupiter's in her 9th house. She has a lot that suggests to me that she's going to be very academic, that she's going to look into things very deeply. She has Moon in Virgo. She's got a lot of the Earth stuff, and her Moon in Virgo is in the 12th house. So I'm like, this is going to be a child who's going to wonder about the appropriateness of expressing things. You know, she's going to start doubting her feelings on a lot of things, because Virgo tends to be kind of like, and she has a Virgo ascendant. So she's all earth and her sister's all fire. So I have to do their synastry chart too. I want to see how those two are going to get along. Right now, Addie just loves her little sister and, likes to give her big hugs and everything. But Charlie, when I look at her, they call her Charlie instead of Charlotte. And I look at her and I'm like, she looks like she looks like she doesn't come from here. Like, you know what I mean? And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean it like something about her. I'm like, her soul origin doesn't feel human to me. Like, she feels like she's from somewhere else. But she's adorable. My sister went to go visit her, and she said, yeah, she's a little cuddle bug. Addie's kind of like, she doesn't want to talk to you. She doesn't want to talk to you. Although, once she got used to my sister, she said, they said she was getting up to going, where's Grandma? Where's Grandma? So my sister was very happy about that, because she lives too far away, and it bothers her that she's not really close to her grandchildren. But Addie is one. But I do really like. I think I said this the other day. My niece-in-law and nephew, are saying, like, when it comes to her and it comes to relatives and stuff, like people who come over and you remember growing up, it was kind of like, oh, give Auntie so and so a kiss or Uncle so and so, and you were like, I don't really want to, and it was like, no, don't be rude. You have to do that. My nephew is not like that at all. He's like, no, if she does not want to be hugged by somebody, she needs to learn that they want her to learn that she has a right to decide who touches her. That's really what it comes down to. And I thought, that's really good. I'm really glad that they're doing that, because we've all been in those uncomfortable situations, or there's uncomfortable situations with love that. Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of times we're just kind of taught that it's totally appropriate for people to violate our boundaries. And basically, if she doesn't know somebody and she's not comfortable, then they're saying she has a right to say no. She has a right to not be touched by somebody. Just because initially she didn't want my sister to hug her either, and my sister was just like, okay. She's like, I get it, But then eventually it got better. But once she felt more comfortable, but but it's not, and people shouldn't take that offensively if you don't. Sometimes people just don't want to be touched, There's some people who are very, very touchy-feely, and I've met people like that. And, I kind of can go either way, but I tend to... I'm not a super touchy-feely person, but, I'll give somebody a hug or something, but I'm not... I'm not the type of person who wants to get into people's personal space. So, it's probably why I like Britain so much, because I don't feel like... because that's just kind of it. Everybody's very polite, but everybody keeps their personal space. I've not really had that issue over there. That's probably why I feel comfortable. So anyway, so let's pull some cards for today, because I think I want to like I said, I didn't have a particular theme. I know we were. I just made it. I have so many Aries. Yeah, well, that's just it. I think, that kind of makes sense. I think you have a lot of fire. For me, I know I'm on the cusp of Aries. So so there's definitely, my personality can kind of be in either camp. I always feel like I was in 0 degrees of Taurus just to keep my feet on the ground. I have a grand fire trine in my chart too. So yeah, I think a lot of us here are very fiery people. Sun, Mercury, Venus. Okay, those are all in... So, well, you're in Taurus though, right? Your sun's not in Taurus, in Aries. Your sun's in Taurus, I think, right? I mean, so far, okay. Yeah, it's interesting. But I think a lot of us here have that kind of fiery energy, and I think sometimes people don't know, I don't know. Sometimes people don't quite know what to do with that, but, and I think part of one of the challenges that you have when you have that kind of configuration in your chart is how you manage that. You know, it's like anything. Well, it's like having a fire. I mean, you don't light a fire in the middle of your house, right? You put it in the fireplace. Like, you manage it so that it becomes beneficial and not something that's going to destroy everything, you know? So, well, this is interesting. Okay, so I'm using today, wow, these three just flipped out. I have the Aquarian Tarot. I had brought it down this morning, and I like this one. It's a very... it's almost an Art Deco feel to this deck. It's from the 60s. And, okay, so the cards I've just pulled initially are the King of Swords. Okay, I have the King of Swords, I have Justice, and I have the Three of Cups. Okay. And, okay, so, I don't know. So, all right. My first inclination here is with King of Swords, there's a decisiveness to the King of Swords, right? There's an energy of wanting to, it's also a very intellectual energy. It's one that's more detached from the emotions. This is making a decision based on the facts, right? You know, what's in front of us? What do we see? And it's almost like we're using this as a determinant of truth, okay, with the Justice card. So there's a sense that, you know, that we are going to be, I feel like this is more saying that we are going to be able to see the facts of things clearly, and they're also the King of Swords as this kind of decisive energy with justice. For me, that almost feels, it feels very legal to me, you know, it feels very legal. And I don't know if that applies for certain people, but there's something about it that almost feels like somebody coming in and being like an arbiter of justice, of what's fair, of what's right, or what's owed to somebody. There can also be a karmic inflection to justice as well, in terms of the debts you pay versus the credits you receive, right? You know, in terms of, you know, how we, the consequences of whatever our actions might be. But with the Three of Cups is interesting here, because this to me, okay, with these two, because this is almost a card of celebration, but it's also a card of, the three suggests that, you know, it's not just about you, it's maybe not just about you and another person, like that there's at least one other person involved in a particular situation. But Three of Cups, I've seen a lot of different, I guess it depends on the context, but I don't know, this almost feels like there's my initial thought about this is almost like, you know, being in a group setting, like learning the truth about something or waking up to the truth of something, in a setting, in a group setting or in a situation where multiple people are involved. Now, in terms of, let's see what else we have here. I feel like I want to go farther with it. Okay, yeah, I mean, we have the Ten of Wands, kind of teamwork. Kind of, yeah. I mean, it has this kind of, like I said, Three of Cups to me is more like a celebration, more like you're going out with your friends and stuff, and I don't know, something comes up or something comes out of it, you know. But we do have the Ten of Rods here also, so I'm flipping this card, and the Ten of Rods to me is like, yeah, it's about a burden that maybe you've been carrying by yourself. Okay, something that you're carrying there, and with the High Priestess, there's definitely a sense of, well, there's a strong sense, celebration of truth, maybe relief. Yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like there's a relief factor to this. Normally, when I would see those two cards together, I would say, okay, you know, it's almost like, you know, something's coming up. You know, somebody's paying the piper, so to speak. You know, something's coming up, but with the Three of Cups, I almost feel like it's like, okay, yes, there's going to be a truth that comes out, there's going to be an equanimity, and it's going to be a cause for celebration. Like, that's more the way I feel about it. Like, it's not a negative thing. A lot of times we think of that kind of stuff, and we think, oh, it's going to be a bad thing. It's going to be, you know, like when we see justice, it could be more like, you know, somebody worries that are going to get sued. You know, like there's some, we always think of it as a negative element when we talk about coming to justice, but not really. Not when things have been out of balance. There's a sense of bringing things into balance in this kind of celebratory energy. So yeah, we have it with this High Priestess card. And the High Priestess to me, well, okay, again, there's the element with the High Priestess of what's unknown or what's unseen, but also an element of independence here. So when I see these two together, there's almost like this determination to carry something by yourself, or there's been a determination. But the High Priestess also seems to indicate that there's just stuff that's not seen. There's unseen factors at play here. So this kind of puts us at a crossroads. We've got the Two of Swords. And I've seen that quite a bit lately, in a lot of readings. This Two of Swords energy is, I'm looking for balance in the sense of, I'm just looking for a stable place to put my feet down, right? I don't want to, the Two of Swords is sometimes called the card of truce. It's where you are, you're trying to, or it's either peace or truce. It's one of the others. I think I might be confusing it with the Four of Swords, but there's an idea here that you are in a peaceful space, and that you may not want to disturb that. We've been talking a lot about changes lately. We've been talking about how things are shifting and changing. And as much as I think we're ready to welcome change, especially in situations that are not good, that are problematic, there's also the sense of like putting the blindfold on, like, okay, there's change happening and I don't really want to look at it. I just kind of want to be in my little corner of the world, and I just want things to go along in a way that's peaceful, unremarkable, just get on with my life, make things peaceful. But the thing about the Two of Swords is that, it's not a place where you can stay. It's not a place where we need to stay. And staying there, there's still this sense that we are carrying too much, or that maybe we believe that we have to carry too much. And that, to me, is like this old Capricornian energy that's going away. To me, some of the more, Capricorn can be hard work and persistence, right? Which are not negative things necessarily. But Capricorn can also be that we are, it can also be that we want to overwork, that we have to, it's ambition to the point that people driving themselves saying, I have to make more and more money, or I have to do this, or I have to do that. Where it becomes, or I think the ten of rods for me is more the person who is in a job, like let's just say somebody who has a management position of some kind, or just has something that they're doing, and they end up, they don't trust anybody else. Actually, it's funny we're talking about Aries, because this is a very strong Aries trait. That's just jumping into my mind. It's a very strong Aries trait, which is, I can't trust anybody else to do it right, so I've got to do it myself, right? That's kind of the thing there. And that's what it feels almost like. Like there's a need to reach out, to share the load, I'm going to start coughing. Which is kind of weird where that's coming from. Maybe that's what we're looking to say. We have it with the Queen of Pentacles here. So, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like there's help on the way. There's help if we look for it. And once we see the big picture and the truth of the situation, I think there's definitely an encouragement there to reach out, to not to try to go it alone, but also in the sense of celebration, in the sense of life is something to be celebrated. It's not a drudge that we need to be pushing ourselves through all the time. It's not like we wake up every day and, oh God, now I got to go through this again. That's kind of the way that we end up approaching a lot of things. But this, I think, is saying, no, that's not that's not like the necessary way to do things, is to, and I don't feel, it's really weird because consistently, and anybody who watches this regularly knows that we've been constantly seeing things about play, right? Sun, Moon, Mars, Venus, oh gosh, I'll send it what's quite complete. Okay. So yeah, it's very, so I don't know. So I feel like, so I was just reading the comment there. I feel like what we're at is we're at a point, it's basically saying there's a point here of, where not only that we want to work with others, but also that we want life to be a celebration and not, once things become clear to us, it's like, okay, this is not a time to sit in anxiety and be afraid and say, oh no, things are about to change, the world's going to end. Like, it's not that. I think a lot of times when we feel like, even though we are overwhelmed and we've got it under control, just having it under control is not necessarily the way you want to live. You know, we hear the expression, running around like a chicken with its head cut off. I feel like a lot of us do that. We're kind of like running from this thing to that thing and trying to do so many things and saying, I have to keep it all together. And there's that Aries determination, that fiery determination to say, no, I have to do it and I have to be the one in control, because if I farm it out to somebody else, they're going to screw it up. And yeah. Can justice be like divine help coming in to rebalance? Like we don't have to carry the load as much. Well, yeah, that's just it. It's not so much justice. Justice would definitely be about finding balance. Yes, because that's another aspect to it. But I think it's also, but I also feel like it's like, there's a sense with the King of Swords that we're coming to some kind of a truth or coming to some kind of decision. Okay. So I feel that's why I think there's both elements there. I mean, we are in Libra season right now still. So I don't know. And Libra season, of course, is about coming into relationship, right? It's about, it's the 7th house. It's about how we're working with others. So I think there's a strong encouragement here to share the load with others. But there's also a strong sense of celebration to it as well. Like there's the idea that we can put our burdens down and we can let our hair down to some, so to speak, to some degree. That's what I'm kind of feeling there. And with this 2 of Swords, like we're kind of in this space of like, I feel like the explanation of it is kind of like, okay, you're in this space where you're trying to balance a lot of things. But that, as we know, the 2 of Swords is something, we're still closed off in some way. I think of people, I can think of a particular Aries, I think, who keeps themselves closed off because their focus is entirely on their work. Okay? And it's like, okay, my work is the only thing. I don't have time to open myself up to anything else because I'm busy doing these things. And I feel like there's a sense of moving away from that. Like when you start moving into the 3 energy there, it's like you're moving into a space now where you're connecting more with others, reaching out to others. And 3 of Cups to me is very social. So it's not just about, oh, I'm going to have this business meeting and network with this person. You know what I mean? It's more of it can be that, I guess, but it's more of I'm going out with my friends, or I'm going out to meet people and we're going to celebrate. There's more of that kind of a vibe to it. And, but I feel like, and with the Queen of Pentacles, this is like a reestablishment of security for me. Okay. This is an establishment of security. And I do feel like, we are moving to a place where, where we can feel familiar again, and again, whenever you see court cards, these could be people who help you do that. Okay. There definitely could be people who help you do that. But certainly, to Alex's point, there's a sense of balancing here. There's a sense of trying to keep things in balance and to find that place where we are working in community with others and not just trying to assume that not only that we have to do it ourselves, but what's coming into my head is the idea that somehow we're a bad person if we don't do it all by ourselves. You know what I mean? We have this whole thing of in other words, we have to show that we're strong by not asking for help, right? Okay. There's an element of that, the show of strength is, look at me, I can manage all this by myself. What a big, strong person I am. And I think that's an energy that we're moving away from. Oh, good morning. Good to see you. This resonates. Yeah. And that's where I think a lot of us are like that. Because we're raised in a culture to say, yes, independence is a good thing, mind you. Again, I'm not saying that we should all have to be dependent on everybody else. It's not a matter of like codependency. It's because that's what people seem to think that the opposite of independence is like codependence. And it's like, well, no, it's a matter of recognizing, how to ask for help when you need it, recognizing opportunities for support when they're there for you, and recognizing, what it just allows you to, and doing things that can potentially allow you to lighten the load and enjoy life a little more, but somehow we feel like we have to be working ourselves to death all the time and that we have to doing it. Somewhere in the middle, yeah. It's very much, it's kind of energy here. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a thing that's coming to an end, and how that's going to come to an end, I don't know exactly. It may be just different for everybody. We may all just have our own individual circumstances and things. On a collective level, I'm interested to see how that's going to play out on a collective level, because I do feel like collectively there's something that's going to be shifting. You're hearing a lot of astrologers that are talking about like our economic systems changing and our way of of doing things changing. For example, and again, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but you hear people who have ideas, for instance, of like a universal basic income for people, right? That people pay into this kind of thing, and so that people can do that, have that, and then if people want to pursue something more creative rather than sitting in an office all day doing admin or business or whatever, and they want to do something else, that people are allowed to do that. That money does not have to be the main thing, or a different system of money, or a different way of doing things. You hear about these kinds of possibilities in the future. What that looks like for real, I don't know. I mean, at the moment, anybody's guess. These are just some things that have been floated in the past. And, I'm sure there's advantages and disadvantages to all those approaches. Nothing is ever a perfect solution for everybody and everything. But I decided to do our regular cards as well. Yeah, we have the Ten of Pentacles right in the center. We are the world, right? There's that. We saw the Three of Cups in the other one. There's this idea of we are connecting with other people here, okay? There's a connection. In other words, you're not in this alone. A lot of times we feel that in order to be a good member of society, we should never rely on anybody else. That's why you'll hear a language about handouts, or you'll hear a language about entitlements and stuff in a very negative sense, or that social safety nets are bad, or things like that. And I mean, I don't know, I'm getting kind of economic here. But the point is just simply that we place a value in this culture on working hard and doing it on your own. But the reality often is that it's not about hard work. It's often not what you're doing, it's who you know, right? If you have the right connections, then you can get to certain places. It's often, so it's not only so much about, you can work hard at things, but if we feel like, well, things aren't happening now, this just means I have to work harder. The way to abundance sometimes is not about work. It's about finding that balance, and it's about opening yourself up to making connections with the people who are going to kind of help you achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve. And I don't mean that in the sense of like, the kind of suck up networking things that people do necessarily. It's just more that, the right people come in at the right time. You're looking for an opportunity to do something like Joanne was on yesterday, and I was talking to her afterwards, and yeah, it was just like this, something, there'd been some stuff there was some conversation that went on, and somebody said to her, it would be really great if you came to Switzerland and did this, right? So, yeah, I mean, that it's the things, it's like making the connections at the right time, having the right conversations, but we can't plan that. We can, we like I said, we can meet people, we can network with people, we can do stuff like that. But a lot of times it's just a matter of the right people show up at the right time. I mean, I think that's Aquarian too, because that's 11th house, right? That's about how we network. It's about how we, who we connect with. So we have the We Are the World card. Inner feeling of which one or where. Yeah, the past is going away and we're sad. We're like, there's an aspect of it where we're like, oh, there's almost, even though we know something's done, there's almost like a nostalgia for it in some way. I've been hearing this a lot lately from people too. It's like, I know this is over. I know it's time for me to move on, but but you kind of get wistful about maybe certain aspects of it that you felt familiar with, or maybe liked, or maybe were better at one time. And this is saying to let it go. And yeah, this came up again. This Four of Pentacles. I know we had the Two of Swords, but there's this element of, wanting to stay where we're at, wanting to hang on to what we've got, and wanting to stay where we're at. And would you believe it? I didn't even really look down. We got the Three of Cups again. Okay. So clearly this kind of standing out to me amidst all of this balance stuff, this is important. Those Neptune rose-colored glasses, nostalgia. Yes, you're right. Yeah, exactly. That Neptune and Neptune's been in Pisces. Neptune's going to move into Aries. Speaking of Aries, that's going to be really interesting. Oh, this card. Yeah, it's back. But as you can see, this is a card of celebration. That's why I said it's a card of working with others, but it's like the Three of Pentacles is more a card of, okay, I'm going to collaborate with, people are recognizing my work and want to collaborate with me. This is more like we're going to go out and have a good time. This is dancing in the rain, right? Letting your hair down. That's why I said there's that element of it. So it's saying, yeah, no, that is the point. And it's funny that it came up in the Aquarian deck and it came up in this one. And the outcome card you're going to love, which is the Fool. Okay? This is the person who's, ready to take a risk. And so, again, I feel like we're kind of being reminded that, we have a tendency to do this. We have a tendency to want to look back or look at what we've lost. And we have a tendency to say, I need to kind of, yes, like I need to stay where I'm at. But it's saying you're at the beginning. You're at the beginning here. You're zero. You're the Fool. You're at the beginning. And it's Aries energy. Yeah, it's funny how this all just kind of all comes around in a circle and comes together, right? But you are, this is this Aries energy. It's saying you need to, we are at a point where, we kind of need to take that leap of faith, we could call it, but recognizing that, we're moving into a new space, and maybe we have to do, this can, for some people, mean doing something that maybe others consider to be risky, or maybe in the old way of doing things would be considered to be risky, making an investment in something, for instance, people going, oh, I don't know, maybe that's not a sound investment. Well, maybe it's worth the risk, maybe it's going to get you there. I had some good news this morning. I actually got my anchor payment from the state, which was weird. I remember my sister and my brother-in-law had to, and my mother too, they all had to submit digital photo ID, real ID stuff in order to get their anchor payments. And they were like, how come you didn't have to do that? And then I thought about it and I was like, oh, they're retired and they don't file New Jersey taxes because they don't make enough. It's not, they break even, there's nothing owed. So, I was like, okay, I pay taxes because I run a business in New Jersey. So I said, that's probably why. But it appeared in my account today, and I was just like, ooh, look. An anchor payment, it's something that they do in the state of New Jersey, and it has a lot to do with, it's a type of, it's connected to property tax rebates and stuff. And, so it's something, that's just what they call it. That there's this, you have this, this payment that they do, and they used to be just like a rebate, and now they just call it an anchor payment. But you get it, and it may be tied to something more than that. But so that just appeared in my account today. I was like, oh, look at this large amount of money. So, and immediately this is money this is money I should be putting aside to say, okay, well, this will give me backup for the mortgage and stuff. And I'm already thinking ooh, do I want to buy a plane ticket and go to the UK? We'll see whether that's a risk that I take or not. I keep seeing travel. I did a full horoscope spread for myself this morning, and I had Anubis and the Chariot in the 9th house. I'm like, somebody's telling me that I'm taking a trip, so I don't know. We'll see. I don't know whether it's going to have to do with this money or not, but we'll see how that works out. Anyway, yada yada. But it's just. But just this idea that it's time to take a risk. It's time to let your hair down. It's almost like our guides are saying to us, stop looking at everything so seriously. Go out, have fun, have a good time, enjoy yourself. Get up every day and make your work enjoyable, make things enjoyable. It just seems to be coming up over and over again, like the spirit world's looking at us going, come on, you can, this is going to be fun, Again, we're all just like, ooh, I don't know. I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. But that just seems to be the energy that they're promoting. And I know for some of us, we're kind of like, well, what's changed? And sometimes maybe the answer is just that we have to change first. Once we change, then we're able to start seeing what else has changed. So, anyway, hopefully that was reasonably enlightening today. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. I mean, some of you, yes, what's changed, right? But a lot of times, sometimes it's a matter of how we look at it. It's like you kind of got to stand on your head and look at it from a different different perspective. Because we may be judging everything by what we considered an achievement in the past. So, you're welcome. I'm glad that was helpful. And yeah, Pat, I just saw you sent me your chart, so I'll take a look at that. Lots to think about. You're welcome. Yeah, well, that's just, it's always the way it is, right? You know, it's always plenty to think about here. And some of you I will definitely see tomorrow in the intuitive development class. And in the meantime, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll be on tomorrow morning. And yeah, so have a good day. Take care.